Hi, I am Olympia Lapointe, talk show host of Answers Unleashed. Does parent child separation negatively affect the brain of a young child? The answer is yes. Psychologists have shown that when you separate a child from his or her mother or father, it negatively creates a detrimental emotional lack of bonding that affects a person for their entire lifetime. Now, I understand if there is physical abuse, if there is neglect, if there is life endangerment, of course, parent child separation is mandatory in those cases. However, what happens if a person is separated from their child because they've, let's say, illegally immigrated into a foreign country? What happens if a person is separated from his or her parents and they are still a child and they don't know necessarily what to do? How does that affect this child for the rest of her life? Well, I went through that personally, and I'm going to share with you a story so you can understand the effects that happen to someone and what they have to go through to change their thinking in for the rest of their life, really. This happened to me. I was 16 years old and I was forced to leave the home that I grew up in and live on my own. Now, you're wondering how is this possible? This woman that I'm watching is a rocket scientist. Well, please explain. Well, this is what happened. When I was a young child, my mother and our mother struggled to take care of us. And she often went to governmental support, which was the welfare, to help us eat. And she did everything she could in order to bring in money for us and raise us, but she struggled because she didn't have an education and she had four children and she was taking care of them by herself. So any type of assistance was a help for her. In this time frame, I went to school and I went to high school and I got a scholarship to go to college. Now, I graduated from high school at the age of 16. When I received this scholarship, my mother reported it to the officials, and the welfare officials at the time stated that if I were to stay in the home, I would have to give my scholarship money that I earned or received, I should say, for school to my family instead of the governmental support that would help us eat. Or I could move out. Now, this was a very tough situation. If I stayed, I would be cutting off the aid to the rest of my family members. If I left, I would be on my own, didn't necessarily know what to do, and the foundation that I had while still being a minor would have been completely destroyed. And I looked at my mother and I looked at my sisters and I realized I would do anything to make sure that they could eat. So what I did is I chose to leave so they could still receive help. And I left home at the age of 16. Now, when I left home, it was really rough. I did not have the emotional support that people would have when they have family members or people to take care of them, but rather I left at the age of 16 and I went to college, and it's there that I received help. I told people my situation. I was hired at the age of 16 to be a mathematics tutor. Now, to give you a little bit of background, you have to have a work permit in order to work at the age, anything under 18. So at the time, the person that hired me, she was actually bending the rules on making sure that I would be hired so I could take care of myself. Another case is that the professors that I had, they knew that I was young and they knew I was on the campus, and so they connected me to the scholarship office to connect me with the donors who were looking to help me in this dire situation. I, fortunately, was a success story. But let me share with you this fact. Do you know that 75% of the people who are in the foster care system, which is in the United States, and it can be anywhere else in the world, but specifically in the United States, 75% of the people in the foster care system go into a state of turmoil and they are incarcerated. The study has shown that 75%, it could be more right now, of people who are incarcerated in jails are people who do not or have not received the emotional support from a parental structure. Now, anytime that you separate a child from a parent, that child is going to go through extreme turmoil and traumatic stress with trying to survive. I truly believe that as adults and business owners and parents and whoever you are that's watching this, it is our job to make sure that children are educated as well as protected and provided for no matter what country they're in, no matter where they're from, because they are people who are needing the emotional foundation to survive and thrive in the world so they can contribute to the world in such a way, such a powerful way, that they will change humanity by their life. What can you do? See, I was a success story because there were people who, one, donated money for scholarships. How many times have you donated money for scholarships? How many times have you purchased a book for someone that has wanted to go to school? How often have you donated to different type of legal funds that will help represent people who have no money to emancipate themselves or even protect themselves under the law if they are refugees? How often are you in this situation where you can help someone? If not, find an opportunity. How often are you in a situation where you can mentor someone? You may not have money, but can you offer somebody who is going through an emotional time in their youth the guidelines and the steps to rationally override any type of emotional setbacks that has been created from the lack of a parent into a strong emotional base by offering them guidance? Have you done that? You see, we're not on this planet just to watch things happen. We're on this planet to change things and to shift things so they do happen. No governmental system is foolproof. No economy is perfect. No leader is perfect. Some leaders may be heinous, some leaders may be great. But the question is, what can you do? It doesn't matter who's leading or who's creating. What it matters is what you can do right now to shift the situation. Now, for me, I personally love helping people. And so what I do is I create the Olympia LaPointe Science Scholarship, and it's over at California State University, Northridge. There, I give money to help people buy books. Very simple thing. How often do you help? You see, when people are separated from their parents or are forced and placed into a situation of foster care or poverty, and they are away from people who can emotionally support them, they will go through such doubt and such fear in not knowing what to do. When there is simply a person who will reach out and say, I may not have all the answers, but I can help you here, you have no idea how much that means and the type of faith and hope that you instill not only in the person that you're helping, but in you. I am Olympia LaPointe. And I am so honored to share these messages with you. And until next time, find me on AnswersUnleashed.com. I'll see you next time.